Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, April the 6th, 2015. Well, since we're out of California, it's back to normal WWE crowds. Safe, predictable crowds. But not bad tonight, though. Crowd was decent tonight, even though we got more cheers for Roman Reigns than usual. I'll get to that in a second. More thoughts about Reigns getting cheered again instead of getting booed like he did at WrestleMania. It was a pretty decent one tonight. We got the main event set for Extreme Rules, as you see by my subtitle. Plus, two really good matches tonight, including what could be a breakout moment for an NXT alum tonight, stepping up his game. In only a second week, and a great match tonight. And another NXT alum team could be one step closer to getting a tag team title shot and getting over the tag team division, like they did last week in their debut. Now let's kick off with the Authority. Minus two people. Triple H and Stephanie on storyline vacation. So we had Seth Rollins in there. Kane, Big Show, JJ Security. It was an intriguing segment. Seth Rollins was like, WrestleMania was great for the Authority. There were so many great moments. I cashed in Money in the Bank to become the new WWE Whatever Champion. Big Show won the Battle Royal. And Kane was there. I can see I think there's some tension building between Kane and Rollins. We saw the tension built throughout the evening with Rollins not thinking of anything remarkable that Kane did at Mania. Just saying he was there. Nothing significant by Kane. So I did something. Show did something. Kane just showed up. And Kane's like, listen, even though Triple H and Stephanie are gone, I'm still the director of operations. And tonight, we're going to see a triple threat match to determine your next contender. Since Lesnar's suspended, it'll be Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Ryback to be in a triple threat. And Orton came out during the segment. Now, in my opinion, some people are born to be a babyface, some are born to be a heel. Orton can play both. He can be a great heel, he can be a good babyface. I think he's really basically being a babyface this time. I hate to admit this, but I think this might be sad but true. Randy Orton's a better guy on a microphone than Roman Reigns. I'm sorry. I think I've been applauding Randy Orton's promos as of late. They're not as cheesy as much as Cena's promos. You know, not all babyface promos need to be cheesy like Cena's. Like, Randy Orton's promos can be corny, but not as corny as Cena's promos. They're pretty funny, and he's embracing it more. Like I said, he's gotten better on the microphone, while Reigns just got worse and worse on the mic. That's my opinion. So, but before Randy Orton would get to his triple threat match against Ryback and Reigns, all three men would have to fight an individual singles match. And Randy would have to fight first against Kane. Now, Kane was a proof point that he can throw his weight around. He wanted to prove that not only can he talk the talk, but he can walk the walk. But it was an okay match to open up Raw. It was an okay match. But Orton looked pretty well against Kane. You know, decent little match. Orton tried to go over the him and DDT. They fought outside the ring. But then Kane used a chair, causing a disqualification. So Randy won by DQ. But Orton did try to get an RKO on Kane, but he ran off. So I think they were saving Orton's energy for the main event. And it could, Kane against Big Show, that could be the direction, because Kane might be splitting up in the Authority. Let's see what Triple H and Stephanie think about this somewhat tension between Rollins and Kane. That could lead to, I think Kane's been frustrated the last couple weeks. You've seen little seeds building. But I think now, like a couple weeks ago, we saw Kane tension against Rollins, but it was the joke they pulled on Orton a couple weeks ago. But I don't think this is a joke this time. I think Kane's going to lead the Authority. And the seeds for the ascension grew even bigger, as following Kane's loss against Randy Orton, Rollins came in, yelling at Kane for not carrying his load in the Authority. Kane's like, well, Rollins, you have a bad attitude, punk. If it wasn't for me, you would not have Money in the Bank, because it is true. Kane gonna help Rollins get the briefcase at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So he's got Kane to thank for him being the champion that he is now. Being able to have a Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in the first place. So Kane's like, you need to be more appreciative of me. So we're gonna have ourselves a match. You are in action next. You don't know who you're facing. I was on the social media, people were like, oh, it's gonna be Ambrose. Instead, we had a unique new entrance for a debuting NXT superstar that debuted last week. Neville. It's got a new little entrance video. And new pyro too. He's a loser kid, but still. But when I saw it was Neville, I was like, wow. It's only a second match in the company, the main roster. And they're building, I've noticed this tonight. They are building Neville and Lucha Dragons better in the first 2 weeks on the main roster than a certain other NXT team has been booked throughout the entire one thus far. WWE doing the great booking job of Neville and Lucha Dragons show WWE that this is the way to book NXT superstars properly in the main roster. Unlike another NXT property that became watered down and stupid booking has ruined their one on the main roster thus far. Ascension. Back to reason why I think Neville's getting booked pretty well. His match against Rollins tonight, in my mind, should have been the main event. The main event, the triple threat was okay, but Rollins and Neville stole the freaking show. The next two matches stole the show, but this one was my favorite. To see Neville get over so good in this match, as you noticed from watching my reviews, regular reviews, know that I'm an NXT mark. I'm getting NXT t-shirts, so I'll probably will that in my next review of Raw. So I'll get ready for that. I've been watching NXT since I've been on the network and stuff. And a big fan of NXT stuff, and a big fan of Neville. And to see Neville main roster and looking so good, unlike the Ascension did, at least, like I said, WWE's doing a better job with these two guys coming from NXT than they did with the Ascension. Because Neville looked awesome against Rollins. Really awesome match. Great to see these two wrestle. Two NXT alum wrestling. They gave him all the time to wrestle. It was a great back and forth action. It showed Neville off. He had some great action spots. Great action. Great back and forth action. Some of the best spots were great counters from Rollins. But the counter tonight that everyone's talking about was when Seth Rollins was setting up for a powerbomb. But then Neville in midair countered it into a hurricanrana into the turnbuckle. That was awesome. Even with interference from J&J Security as he was trying to set up for the Red Arrow. He had Rollins set up for the Red Arrow at one time in the match. But then J&J Security got in. That didn't ruin the match. But it ended up powerbomb countered to a hurricanrana. Seth would literally fly back with a big nasty kick, go for the curb stomp, and 1, 2, 3, 50 for Rollins. Kind of like what happened to Ambrose last week against John Cena, even in a losing effort, Neville looked awesome tonight. Because Cena had his open challenge again tonight. I'll get to that in a second. And I think a lot of people thought Neville would accept, but I was like to myself, I don't want to see Neville get buried by Cena, being Super Cena and all. But it was cool to see Neville not take on Cena, but him take on Rollins. And have a great showing. Great matchup between these three guys, I'd love to see a feud. Like Owen's okay, but I'd rather see Neville feud against Rollins for the title. If they give these guys an opportunity to have a great feud and have a great main event title match, this should be the feud that should happen instead of Reigns against Rollins. It should be Neville and Rollins. And the crowd was great. You know what I mean? And I hope they keep this up with Neville. If they don't fuck this up, they got a stall in their hands. If they don't pile him with bad booking like they did with the Ascension, it's looking good thus far for Neville. His first match against Axel last week was kind of a squasher, but tonight was really good against Rollins. He really looked good against Rollins out there. It was great action, great back and forth. These two should have a feud for the title one day. If WWE play their cards right, I would love to see Rollins and Neville headline a pay-per-view for the title. That I would love to see. That would be worth $9.99 for the network. Unless it's another free month like this month. Anyway, after that fun matchup between Rollins and Mr. Neville, we had, of course, the continuation of a U.S. Championship Open Challenge. I'll give Cena credit for this. He's supposed to take on Rusev as long as he retains in these open challenges at Extreme Rules. But it's getting interesting for Cena to have these open challenges, or as some people may call them, burial ceremonies for up-and-coming superstars. But You saw what happened to Ambrose. I hope it didn't get buried too hard against Cena, because he looked good last week in his match against Cena. And tonight's Open Challenge competitor, no exception. John Cena against Stardust. Interesting to see Stardust against Cena. But it was another fun match. Not as good as Neville and Rollins. It was more technical and very more fun. And really good. At least one thing from last week carried over from last week to this week. Great matches, like last week, So I said in my review last week, I wish we had good action every week. Not just last week, the week after Mania. And it carried over. 2 great matches to begin after the Orton Kane thing. It started pretty well. Like Ambrose, Stardust looked really good in this matchup. It seemed that it made a rope stunner that he did at the pay-per-view, Mania, again tonight. So, it was kind of interesting to see him play the heel because Stardust was getting cheered pretty heavily. But it didn't really get booed as much as usual. Although we did still heard some John Cena sucks sing-alongs. So then we would see Stardust would make a comeback. Even did Dark Matter at one point. Even with the Cody champs. Fun matchup with Cena winning with the F here. Hope he didn't bury Cody too hard like he did that Ambrose. I hope Ambrose can recover from losing to Cena. Get a big push. So, there you go. Because he looked really good. Like what Neville did tonight against Rollins. Losing effort still look good. So now on to our next tag team affair. Paige and Naomi team against the Beltrons. I said in my tech sports today that, as we all know, AJ retired over the weekend. And I said, where they give AJ a proper farewell speech. Sadly, they didn't. That's sad, really. That all the other retiring superstars have their speeches. Edge had a retirement speech. Shawn Michaels had a retirement speech. Yet they wouldn't have AJ come on to do a retirement speech. Stupid. Stupid WWE. Bad WWE. There's good decisions, like putting Rollins against Neville. But then they outweigh it by bad decisions, like not letting AJ come on to say goodbye to the fans in person. That's kind of a dumb move. They should have had AJ do that. To have real closure. But since AJ's gone, my opinion, since they're bringing up a lot of NXT guys, they brought up an NXT tag team with Lucha Dragons. They brought up Neville. Why not bring an NXT diva to come in? Like Charlotte. We need a great NXT diva to kind of fill the role of AJ. AJ was a great face for the Divas division. And Charlotte could fit that role pretty well. Bayley could too, but I think Charlotte's more athletic than Bayley. She would really bring the Divas division up a notch. Kind of like what AJ was trying to do. Hope Charlotte gets on the main roster soon. Because they need her right now in the Divas division right now. They need a strong babyface diva. Like, Paige is okay. And I think Naomi's on the way there. Because I thought Naomi should have been Divas champion at one point last year. Kind of like Ryback should have had a one for the U.S. championship last January. This past January should have gone for the U.S. championship. Then his momentum slid. Kind of like what happened to Naomi last year. I thought she was in one for a Divas title shot. And momentum slid after she got injured. But I think now Naomi's trying to regain momentum. Because I saw a SmackDown taping in Detroit a couple weeks ago. And she had a main event match against Nikki on main event. They were taping. And she looked great in that match. And she pinned Nikki. Kind of like tonight in this tag team match. It was an okay Divas match. Paige kind of got isolated in the corner. But then Naomi got the hot tag. Looked really good in there. And then another miscommunication for the second week in a row. The Bellatrix kind of miscommunicated. And Naomi would hit the rear view. But then the sisters would inadvertently duck and let the other sister get hit. And then Nick hits his DDT for Naomi. Decent move. And a 1-2-3 victory from Naomi on the champ in a tag team match. Second week in a row she put the champ in a tag team match. I think Naomi's on her way to a Divas title match. Now that positive and negative about AJ being gone. Positive, negative about AJ being gone is the fact that a lot of what ifs. What if AJ and Paige had a longer, better feud? What would have happened if AJ would have stayed around to kind of groom people like Charlotte and Bayley and Sasha Banks when they come in? But the positive is going to be some of the divas may step up their game to try to fill the void that AJ's unexpectedly, surprisingly left. Like Naomi could fill that void. And I just mentioned Charlotte could fill that void if they put her in the main roster soon. So there you go with that. Naomi gets a tag team victory win. On to our next matchup with Ryback and Luke Harper. Now, Speaking about momentum, in my mind, when Ryback first came back in October, the fans were on his side again. He was here for a while, then he turned face when he came back after a little layoff. And he had a great pull back in January. I thought he was in line for a U.S. title shot. But then he got storyline fired by the Authority when he came back in January, and momentum has slid. You can tell it by the fan reaction tonight against Harper. They ruined Ryback in my opinion. He should have had a great one at U.S. champion, and he should have been the one to beat Rusev and not Cena. They should let someone new beat Rusev, not Cena. But hey, it's like AJ leaving. What could have been? What ifs? Anyway, what might have been with Ryback? Anyway, Ryback took on Luke Harper because Ryback was kind of the odd man out. I think Ambrose should have been in that triple threat match tonight. Because Ambrose had a great showing last. I mentioned Ambrose again from last week against Cena. He should have been in the spot that Ryback had. But I think they had Ambrose storyline injured. So, and D-Bar was not there tonight either. Or was that good? Anyway, it was an okay match between Harper and Ryback. It was a short little matchup with Harper getting into control after Ryback coming in. Some big moves from Harper, big kicks. But then Ryback gets the out of nowhere shell shock in the 1-2-3 victory for Ryback. Okay, little matchup. Trying to get Ryback momentum towards his match against Roman Reigns and Mr. Randy Orton for the main event tonight later on. Now, on to our next little matchup. The New Day taking on Lucha Dragons. Now, New Day, they should have been Nation Domination. I've been saying it almost every week that they should have been heels. But tonight, they're trying to shake off the heels. But I think they're trying to be like Cena. So they have the Cena approach when it comes to being booed. They're like, ooh, we know there's a booze out there, but we're going to keep smiling anyway. And don't lash out against the fans. Like I said, they're using the Cena approach when it comes to trying to shake off the boos. Because Cena's approach is like, I don't care if you boo me, I'm still going to be the same guy. I'm not going to turn heel for you. Kind of like New Day's kind of using that same approach. I don't care if you boo us. I don't care if you keep turning New Day sucks. We're still going to be, hallelujah, praising God. So there you go. Speaking of God, kind of bad segue, but hope everyone had a happy Easter. Forgot to say that in the beginning of the video. Hope everyone had a happy Easter weekend. I did. Sorry, bad placement, but let's continue on with the Lucha Dragons. Like I mentioned earlier, WWE is doing a better job of booking the NXT guys on the main roster than they did with the Ascension. I just mentioned Neville, and Lucha Dragons are getting over big time. They had a great debut last week, and tonight they took on New Day. In my mind, Lucha Dragons are in line to get a tag team title shot against Cesaro and Ken. That should be a great feud. Great feud in the making. And Kalisto, I said it last week and I'll say it again, he's the new Mexican superhero that WWE's been looking for since Rey Mysterio. Because there's been 2 voids that's been left with people leaving and getting fired. The big babyface diva, the void that AJ left. I mentioned about who I think should replace AJ in that role. And a Mexican superhero for the Hispanic audience. I thought Sin Cara could have been that guy, but he had so many setbacks. But now Kalisto is the new Rey Mysterio type. A great hero that the fans can look to, especially Hispanic superstar fans. And you saw the fans with the Lucha Champ, and they're getting over big time. You still the New Day sucks, and then you see the fans with Lucha Chants. It was an okay little thing. New Day tried to cheat at one point. They're trying to turn heel by having Kofi Kingston and Xavier do stuff behind the referee's back. But then you saw Xavier had a weird look against Kofi. And that was the downfall. With Kalisto nailing the Selena Del Sol and tagging in Sin Cara after he flew over the top rope. Got the big splash and 1-2-3 victory for the Lucha Dragons on their way to a possible tag team title shot with the champs watching backstage. So, I love Lucha Dragons. Once again, big NXT guy. I like Lucha Dragons. I like the stuff. And I'm glad they're on the main roster. And I'm glad they're getting great booking. I hope they keep this up. Like Neville, I hope they keep this up with great booking for NXT superstars, unlike what they did with the Ascension. I hope they rebound, though. On to our next matchup. Roman Reigns against Big Show. Now, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's interesting, nice to see Roman Reigns get cheered for once. Because I knew it was going to happen tonight. I was like, after, fanboy heavy crowds in the WrestleMania, we'll go back to typical, normal, safe crowds that'll cheer what the company wants them to cheer for, like Roman Reigns. After getting booed out the building in WrestleMania and a Raw last week, Roman Reigns got respectable cheers again. I said in my WrestleMania review last week, Roman Reigns' time will come. He will be champion one day. But I'm glad he didn't win a Mania, because it would have been a forced champion. I think with Reigns losing, it's not a setback. It's an obstacle that Reigns will break through, and I think he'll be champion one day. But it's Rollins' time right now. I said it in my Mania review. I probably said it last week in my Raw review too. But Reigns against Big Show, it was okay. But we had not Super Cena, but Super Reigns. Because Reigns got his ass beat for most of the matchup. Kind of his match against Lesnar. He's got destroyed by Big Show. He got pounded outside the ring by Big Show. He got speared on the outside by Big Show. He got beat up on the outside against Big Show. Despite some decent little dropkick moves. It was okay with Reigns, like I said, making a Super Cena-like comeback with, 5 Superman punches. Couldn't take down Big Show. He was going for another Superman punch. Got caught in midair for a choke slam. And then he got out of it. Bam! Spear! 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? So it was okay little matchup between Reigns and Big Show. Get this, though. All 3 good guys won their matches in the triple threat match. Won their individual matches. But only 2 guys won the matches clean. Reigns won by pin. Ryback won by pin. Orton won by DQ. That could tell us about who we think should win tonight. Who we think would win tonight. Before we get to that, let's get on to our next situation. A backstage situation with Kane. With the Divas begging for a number 1 contenders battle royal. I think this is where Naomi's going to win. And become a new number 1 contender. When Raw is live from London next week, we'll have a Divas battle royal to determine number 1 contender for the Divas title. Since tonight was all about determining the number 1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the Divas title number 1 contender will be probably determined next week. Now, it's kind of unique, this TVPG, yet you see Divas playing a sexuality to sell Kane over on a match, like trying to sell sex to him. But then you're the guy who kind of embodied the don't be a bully, be a star campaign. He even advertised an anti-bully texting game. Yet now he's a heel again. And he's kind of acting like a bully. We wanted him to be a heel again. And this is what we're getting. Sheamus being a heel again. And he had a decent promo. But saying, I'm the last real guy left. I beat up the little guy. The little fella. Who don't deserve to be in a real ring with a real man like me. It was certainly bigger than someone your own size. Because you were supposed to face Ziggler. They must have changed in the last second. Because here comes Mark Henry coming out. So I was watching Raw and I was like, I was at the SmackDown tape in Detroit. And we saw that Mark Henry segment against Roman Reigns. He got speared through the barricade, but nothing happened from it. We haven't seen Mark Henry since. Now he's playing babyface. In Texas, because it's his home state. So we see Sheamus and Mark Henry be in a match. And I'm glad that Sheamus is here again, like I said. I think, despite the you look stupid chance carryover from last week, I think Sheamus is embracing it. He was like, no matter what you think of me, I'm here. Oakland in a match with him dominating with his big, heavy set moves because he's the heavier guy here. He was trying for one fucking slam at one point in the match, but then Sheamus trying to do the 10 beats of Boundary, which he kind of almost did all 10 beats. But then he did get the beat after getting out of the World Strongest Slam attempt. Bull kick, 1, 2, 3, victory for Sheamus. I think he's supposed to be in a tag team match against Bad News Barrett against I thought I was supposed to have a tag team match last week against. I thought it was supposed to be a tag team match last week on SmackDown between Bad News Barrett and Sheamus and D-Bry and Zicky. We didn't see him tonight. So. Now on to second to last match before main event. Miz against Mizdow. This match we've been waiting to see probably happen since WrestleMania, since Mizdow finally took on Miz doing the Under the Giant Battle Royal. And despite getting eliminated by Big Show, he had a great showing. But they wiped it all away with this match. His momentum might have slid. With Miz playing the role of John Cena, burying Miz down again. Because Miz looked really good in his okay little matchup against Miz. He had some okay action, decent offense, but then Miz came back with big action. Grand Coleman's Skull Crushing finale. And Miz even did Miz's other signature move, the backbreaker thing. But then Miz had to win the dirty way. Roll up, holding the tights, 1-2-3 victory for Miz. An okay little matchup between him and Miz now. I thought about this while I was watching the match. Is Mizdow going to play Mizdow forever, or is he going back to being Damien Sandow again? Because I think once they properly end Mizdow and Miz's rivalry, which could lead to a Extreme Rules match, a match in Extreme Rules, since Mizdow lost by grabbing the tights by Miz, they just should have a rematch at Extreme Rules. That's good popping him. We see some possible seeds for Extreme Rules matches tonight, including the main event being set for Extreme Rules and our triple threat main event tonight, Randy Orton against Ryback against Roman Reigns. Like I mentioned earlier, I think Rollins and Neville should have been main event tonight. I'm sorry. This should have gave them main event, should have given more time, because his main event was just okay. It was just a fight. So there you go with that. It was okay little main event. And the Authority came out during the match. And it was a triple threat match. I forgot that triple threat match means no DQ. So all of you guys had a momentum at one point. Ryback tried to nail a shell shock at one time. I think he did nail a shell shock on Reigns, I think. And I think Ryback got an RKO off of Randy Orton. And Reigns did a spear, a Superman punch. And the Authority, they were on the ramp, but then they came down to the ring and kind of got involved. Reigns took them all out by flying over the top rope. Orton wanted to get his hands on Rollins. But then Ryback came in after Rollins got pulled out. And the RKO for Randy Orton against Ryback in the 1-2-3 victory for Randy Orton. He's now the new number one contender, officially the new number one contender. But Randy had no time to celebrate as he got curb stomped immediately by Seth Rollins. And we ended the wall with Seth Rollins standing up top and falling Randy Orton. There was a decent little wall tonight. Some decent action there, even without Triple H and 70. And of course, I also mentioned that we didn't see Daniel Bryan tonight. We didn't see Dean Ambrose tonight or Ziggler. Hands on Extreme Rules, we know the main event now. Randy Orton against Rollins. But since this is a rematch for WrestleMania, and this is Extreme Rules after all, will there be a stipulation to this match? There should be. It's a main event match. There should be a stipulation added. Same with Cena and Rusev. There should be a stipulation in that match too. And with I hope they officially announced Lucha Dragons against Cesaro and Kid for the tag titles. And Naomi will probably win the Battle Royal next week to get her long-awaited title shot against Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship. And as I mentioned earlier, probably Miz and Mizdow in a rematch in Extreme Rules, maybe with a stipulation in there too. So we'll see how the build-up for Extreme Rules comes, especially with the Authority in full power again in London with Stephanie and Triple H set to return next week. We'll see if the Kane tension continues to boil over next week after a little tension with him and Rollins tonight. So we could see how that turns out for Kane. I think he should lead the Authority. It's looking like it. It'd be Big Red Machine Kane again, not corporate Kane. That's what should happen. We shall see how it all boils out. It's been a week after Mania. Now that Mania's over and the buzz after Mania's over, WWE needs to keep people's attention. At least starting with getting Neville a great opportunity to have a great match against Rollins. In my mind, that should be a main event match in a pay-per-view for the title, in my opinion. Hope they do that eventually when the kettle's hot. But we'll see what happens as WWE head towards Extreme Rules coming off of WrestleMania. Great received Mania. Let's see if they can regain momentum. Decent War tonight. We'll see what happens if we get Joe's Extreme Wars. As well as from London next week. And that is it for my War review tonight. Thank you very much for watching. That mind, you have all been attacked by the review from Zach. Once again, thank you. See you later.